They said you can't grow food in winter. When the cold hits, everyone says the garden's done, especially if you live somewhere where it gets really cold. And honestly, a lot of videos out there give you false hope. They'll promise you can grow food all winter long, but then skip the real part, the short days, the slow growth, and timing that actually matters. After 12 seasons of winter gardening here in upstate South Carolina, plus years of living in Michigan and a lot of trial and error, I've learned what really works and what doesn't. So in this video, I'm giving it to you straight. The 10 crops that truly survive and produce in winter, even without heat, and the mistakes that can set you back. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to keep harvesting fresh food, whether you've got a greenhouse, raised beds, or just a sunny windowsill, no matter where you live. But before we dive in, if you need a garden that actually fits your life and not one that burns you out, I have a free training for you that'll show you how to grow high-value food in a small space all year long with less stress, less waste, and way more results. It's linked right below and it's totally free, and it's where the real transformation starts. When I first started gardening, I thought winter meant shutting everything down, but over the years, I kept testing different crops, different timing, and a lot of trial and error. And now, going into my 13th winter season here, I'm about to put the cover on the frame of my unheated greenhouse for its first full winter. And I'm going to show you what's thriving, what's slowing down, and how you can do this too, even in colder zones. Lettuce is one of the easiest crops to extend through winter. Once it's established, it can survive nights down to around 25 degrees Fahrenheit, especially under both frost cloth and greenhouse cover for extra protection. I like to harvest outer leaves and then let the center regrow, but growth is going to slow way down when daylight hours recede. And since that growth slows way down, I would recommend skipping direct sowing lettuce now from seed. Instead, if you can, start it indoors under lights to give your plants a head start. Just remember to harden them off gradually. Start with a few hours in the greenhouse during the day and then increase the time daily. Spinach doesn't just survive the cold, it actually loves it. Some really hardy varieties can handle temps down to around 10 degrees Fahrenheit or even down to 0 with light protection, and will even overwinter and come back to life in early spring. Plant in the fall and you'll have harvests through the winter, and then that same bed will absolutely explode when daylight increases again towards spring. If your ground freezes solid, try an unheated greenhouse or another protected spot to extend the season. Carrots actually get sweeter after frost. I can totally attest to this. The key is planting early enough so that they're mature before daylight hours shorten and growth slows or stops. Otherwise, they'll resume growth in the spring. I planted these in mid-August. I leave my Danvers carrots in the ground all winter because the soil acts like a natural fridge. Here in northern South Carolina, I can pull them fresh for months. Our ground freezes and thaws, and I've never had an issue with quality. The plants simply go dormant for the winter. If you're farther north and the soil stays frozen, you can't harvest during that time, obviously, but try to keep mulch or a greenhouse bed to keep them accessible. Beets overwinter just like carrots when protected with mulch or row cover. You can harvest them all winter as long as the ground doesn't freeze solid, and they often taste sweeter afterwards. I harvest what I need and then the rest stay crisp underground until spring. It's the easiest, lowest effort food storage you'll ever do. I like to grow the Early Wonder tall top variety every year. Garlic is one of the easiest overwintered crops you can plant. Plant it in fall, mulch it well, and then let it root before the freeze. It'll send up greens in the spring and then reward you with bulbs by summer. In colder zones, choose hardneck varieties and a thicker mulch layer for insulation. If you missed my video on how garlic can transform your clean eating journey, check that out next. Scallions are surprisingly tough. Many varieties handle temps near 10 degrees Fahrenheit when established, especially with mulch or row covers. I keep most of mine outside until temps drop into the teens, and then I may put some under my greenhouse for winter. I grow the evergreen bunching variety. These are a cut and come again variety so that I can harvest greens and then they regrow quickly. To encourage regrowth, leave an inch or two of stem and then of course the roots intact. They add fresh flavor year round, and honestly, the ones next to my broccoli right now are are tasting amazing. When I lived in Michigan and first started eating clean about 20 years ago, I grew herbs in an old school arrow garden that sat on top of my fridge all winter. It even came with a cookbook, and every meal I made used those amazing herbs. And now there are so many affordable hydroponic and compact grow systems that make it so much easier than ever to grow your own. Right now outside, I've got grow bags of chives, basil, and parsley that I'll move under my greenhouse. Basil might struggle since it's a warm weather herb, but I like to experiment and see what happens. Inside, I'm starting cilantro seeds I saved from summer using my simple and compact Vigo indoor seed starting setup with magnetic grow lights and humidity domes. I've got rosemary in pots by my front porch and several perennial herbs that stay evergreen or return in spring. Herbs are one of the most high-value, low-maintenance crops you can grow year-round, especially when you grow them intentionally. I should mention perennials and how they're a major asset because they're low maintenance and keep producing year after year. I just planted a pomegranate tree in the Vigo rolling planter they sent me to try out. I'm planning to make a whole video about pomegranate trees in small spaces, so stay tuned. But I'll mention right now that there are cold hardy varieties that'll thrive in many zones, which I never knew before. Okay, on to crop number 8. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and cauliflower all need to be planted early around August or early September here in my zone. They grow slower as days shorten, and that's the mistake most of us make. I replanted broccoli in September after worms destroyed my first batch. They're growing, but probably won't form heads like they would with more daylight. I may overwinter them to form heads in spring. Meanwhile, my cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower will keep going under the greenhouse since protection will be needed when temps drop below 25 degrees Fahrenheit consistently. The cabbage plants already have nice heads growing. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of kale, but if you are, you're lucky because it's one of the easiest and hardiest vegetables to grow through the winter. Mature plants can handle temps down to around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and with mulch or a frost blanket, some varieties even survive below zero. Just make sure you plant it early enough to mature before winter really sets in, because that's the key to keep it thriving through the cold months. If kale isn't your thing, try Swiss chard. It's nearly as hardy and adds color when everything else fades. I'm going to mention another beautiful, colorful winter food in just a second. But with protection, chard survives down to about 15 degrees Fahrenheit and keeps producing greens for soups, sautés, or salads all winter long. And don't overlook radishes. They're one of the most forgiving winter crops for an unheated greenhouse. Most varieties handle temps in the mid-20s, and protection helps them grow steadily even when it's freezing. Just note that they need enough daylight to develop properly. So if you direct sow after the days get short, they'll grow slowly or not at all. So I'd recommend planting them in early fall or start small batches indoors under lights and move them out once they germinated. I usually grow the Cherry Bell variety. I've been growing that variety for years in spring and in fall, and I absolutely love them. Before we wrap up, let's talk for a second about growing in an unheated greenhouse. Even on cold days, a sunny greenhouse like my 10 by 21 can hit close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit just from the sun. But at night, it cools off fast, usually just a few degrees warmer than outdoors. The trick is simple though. Vent it during the day to prevent overheating, and then close it by mid-afternoon to trap the warmth, and then add a frost blanket inside for dual protection on those really cold nights. Consistency is key. Keep your plants protected, watch the temps, and don't overwater. These are a few simple tips that I can plan on expanding on in future videos. And also, there are inexpensive Wi-Fi thermometers that you can purchase where you can monitor temperature graphs and keep a closer eye on the conditions inside your greenhouse. It's actually really fun to do. So yes, your garden might slow down in the winter, but it doesn't stop. And that's the beauty of it. When everything outside quiets down, your connection to your food deepens even further. You're still growing, just in a different rhythm. Next time someone says gardening ends in winter, you'll know better. With the right crops and a little protection, you can eat from your garden all year and feel stronger for it. And here's the thing, winter is the best time to reset, plan, and set yourself up for the most productive year ahead. It's also when I map out crops and plan for spring. If you use this season intentionally, you'll save yourself time, stress, and wasted effort later. If you want to plan smarter and grow high-value crops that truly feed your family without burnout, don't wait. Join my free training below. I'll show you exactly how to design a small space garden that fits your time, your space, and your life for every season of the year. Winter is the best time to start. The gardeners who plan now are the ones harvesting more, wasting less, and feeling calm instead of scrambling come spring. Thanks for watching. Go grow something this winter, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.